For some reason, I heard a lot of drummer jokes this week. I don't know why, but I must take a stance and say that only one or two of them were funny. The rest are just, kinda true. Greetings, my fellow weird music fans. Today, we're gonna take a look at a song that has been requested quite a few times in the comment section, and it's called Contortionist by the Austrian duo, and catch this band name, their dogs were astronauts. I hope you enjoy it. By the way, if you like the content that I make, consider subscribing, sharing this video with other weird music fans, or joining my Patreon page at patreon.com/Yogev Gabay. So, for today's song, we're gonna lean heavily on the guest versus host table. That table helps me organize each side of the polyrhythm and see what instruments support which side. Okay, let's do it, and we'll start with the intro. The first thing we hear is this guitar line in 4/4 with a 16th note subdivision.
Wait, so how did you know it's 4/4 and how did you know it's in 16th notes?
Tom? How do you get into my apartment all the time? Well, it's in 4/4 because of that tail at the end. It kind of boxes it nicely into a 4/4 pattern. And the subdivision is 16th notes because, the way I hear it, the ending phrase sounds like a 3-3-2 pattern. That's how I hear it. You get it?
Oh, so the host is 4/4.
True.
With a 16th note subdivision.
That is again true.
Ah, so what? Basically all songs are in 4/4 and 16th notes?
Every single one. Okay, that was pretty easy, and the next element that comes in are the drums. And that's where my migraine started.
What the fuck?
Exactly. So, first off, this section is 4 bars long. Tom, how many 16th notes in 4 bars of 4/4?
32.
Do you want to reconsider?
Oh, sorry, 64.
Yes, thank you. In this 4-bar frame, the guitar line repeats identically twice, so I'll just copy and paste it. As for the drums, catch this. We're gonna put in a hit every 5th 16th note till we fill up the whole frame. 5th 16th notes. Why? Damn, try saying that fast.
5th 6th.
Anyway, the drums accent those hits, which sounds pretty simple, but it's not. Let's dive in. Drums and percussion arguably have the most impact when it comes to rhythmic perception. And when they're playing on the guest side, you can expect some rhythmic trickery is gonna happen. The rhythmic impact of the drums would be directly linked to the way we orchestrate those hits. Check out these examples. I can play those hits, the groups of 5, on the cymbals, and the impact won't be so drastic. I can play them on the snare drum and it would just sound kinda ugly. Or I can play them as alternating kick and snare, and now we're starting to feel some shift happening. Notice I've been playing quarter notes on the hi-hat for all these examples, which leads you to hear those groups in 5 through the lens of the original beat, so in relation to it.
So, is that what's happening in the song?
Well, no. Yes, but kind of. This is what's going on. The drummer doesn't play any reference to the original pulse. And the orchestration that he picked looks like this. Kick, hi-hat, snare, hi-hat. He does this all the way to the end, and at the end, he joins the guitar. So they basically superimpose a halftime 4/4 groove over these hits and create an alternative pulse you can latch onto. This groove, is probably the orchestration that would throw you off the furthest. I mean, this groove has such a gravitational power to it that it's almost impossible not to get sucked in and assume that that's just the new tempo.
So the guest is that pattern in 5, but because it's played by the drums, we get thrown off so easily?
Man, I should have you here for every video. Yes, that's correct. The host is 4 bars of 4/4, played by the guitar. And the guest is that pattern in 5, played by the drums. Notice that the pattern in 5 gets abruptly cut when those 4 bars restart, which is why I decided that it's the guest. It's one hell of a guest, but it's still a guest.
Hey, don't look at me, I didn't invite them.
So I'll play the guitar line 3 times. First time I'll just leave it alone. Second time I'll snap those groups in 5, and third, I'll add the drums. Notice how my snaps won't have nearly as much effect on your rhythmic perception as the drums do. This interplay, while yes, it's super confusing, is still in 4/4 and still leans on a 16th note subdivision. It's just a very well-crafted auditory illusion. So technically, as long as both sides of the interplay just keep this subdivision running, it should be relatively easy to follow. I mean, relatively. Which is where the next section comes in. The guitar drops out, which means that the host, the 4/4, is pretty much abandoned. But also, the band on the guest side takes an extra step forward. As of now, the guest was playing this alternative pulse that was created by manipulating groups of 5/16 notes, which naturally means that each new pulse is divided into 5 subbeats. But now that the guitar that plays the host is gone, the drums and the guitar solo decide to treat those alternative pulses as the new quarter note, and instead of dividing them into 5, they drop it down to 2. So now we're in a whole new territory, subdivision-wise. We go from here to here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 4, 5, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2.
Okay, let's assume I understand. Even if I follow that new pulse, I hear some weird hits that sound super out of sync. What are those?
Oh, wow. I thought you left. Catch this. Those random hits are actually beat 1 of every 2 bars, taking from the original 4/4 time signature.
I think I'm just gonna go home.
Bye. Anyway, even though those guys went so far out with the guest, they snuck in some reminders that technically, and I can't stress that word enough, technically we're still in that same 4/4. So technically, the pulse is still this. I'll show you. I'm gonna play the song with a click track, and it would sound pretty horrible, but notice how the 4/4 guitar intro obviously makes total sense, even when the drums initially come in, and when the click stop making sense when they do that cool shift, hear how those weird hits lock in with beat 1 of the 4/4. And then it goes back to the original pulse seamlessly. Listener's discretion is advised. This is pretty advanced stuff. Very, very cool. Now, I'm not sure if the drums here are programmed or actually played by a drummer, but if the guys and their dogs were astronauts happened to watch this video, and you happen to look for a drummer to track your music, I'm just saying. By the way, this song has another really cool rhythmic section that we can dissect, but I kind of want to go see if Tom is okay. I may have lost a friend. Meanwhile, go back to the 3-minute and 15-second mark of the track and see if you can figure out what's going on there. Let me know in the comments if you did. Before we end this video, I want to say a big thanks to my Patreon supporters that helped me out with this content by allowing me to prioritize writing scripts, filming and editing instead of wasting time on gigs I don't really want to do. So, thank you guys, and I'll see you next time.